Howdy, howdy, it's your Rodfather 916. Today may be just the first day of a new beginning in the United States. Revolutions are not grand. Sometimes they get started by simply not giving up your seat on a bus. On the 27th of March last month, 6 people were killed in a Christian school. 3 were children, all 9 years old. Today at Nashville in the state capitol, children left school today, and they marched on the Capitol to protest the outing or the expelling of 3 Tennessee lawmakers, Justin Jones, Gloria Johnson, and Justin Pierson. They are being expelled because they were involved in a protest last week. I believe Gloria had a bullhorn on the floor of the House of Representatives in the state capitol. And the Republicans who who make up the vast majority in Tennessee decided that was so outrageous that they should be expelled. Some Republicans likened it to January 6th. No one was killed, no furniture was damaged, no one was hurt, but they got to go. A stretch. Unlike January 6th, there was no real hearings. And I mean, if you look back at January 6th, it was months, almost a year for a lot of people, and the trials are still going. But these 3 Democrats are saying, no, you're out of here. And today, 2 were expelled. The 2 men who happened to be black were expelled. Gloria Johnson, who's white, wasn't. And when asked later, she goes, well, why weren't you expelled? She says, because I'm white. Wasn't something she was proud of. She was just stating a fact. Interesting when I look in the background of the 3 people. It's interesting. Justin Jones is the youngest person ever elected to the House of Representatives for the state of Tennessee. He's 27 years old. He has only been a member of the House for the state for less than 4 months. Justin Pierson, who represents Memphis, Tennessee, has been in for less than 2 months. Gloria Johnson's been for a while there. Today, students left. They left school along with other people. Some people says it's hundreds. Some people have said, some news organization says it's 2,000 people. But they were outraged. Now, the truth is, both men are likely to be reinstated. Like many states, Tennessee is heavily gerrymandered. Like this side of the street is Republican, this side of the street is Democrat. And the 2 largest cities, Nashville and Memphis, are largely Democratic, and they are likely to reinstate them. These are not members of the U.S. House. These are members of the state House. So those communities can reinstate the 2 gentlemen, and it's likely to. This is going to be an embarrassment for the state of Tennessee on many, many levels. First things first, the state of Tennessee, the birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan, is showing the world and reminding them of how racist they are. Gloria Johnson was a stroke of genius. Whoever voted for her to keep her in was a stroke of genius, because they can say the world's looking at Tennessee and say, okay, you let the two brothers, you got rid of the two brothers, but you kept the white girl. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, all right, Tennessee. Tennessee is known for its guns. The governor who once dressed in drag, signed a bill like many other governors in red states to allow a new gun manufacturer to come in. I forgot what it was. But something I left out. The Southern Poverty Law Centers, it says Tennessee has at least 30 hate groups. Again, this is an embarrassing time for them. The world has seen Tennessee. This is in Europe, it's in Al Jazeera, it is all over. And it's interesting. What's interesting about this is that the majority of the people who protested, and I missed something, were people, they call them Generation Zs. Generation Zs are people who were born, I believe, between 1991 to present day. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And this generation, their entire life, they have seen school massacres their entire life. And one of the issues for Generation Zs is gun control. In addition to gun control, they're concerned about climate control. They are concerned about social issues, race and gays. And I know this personally because I have my two youngest kids are members of Generation Z. My son's daughter have no issues with gay people, dancing with gay people, hanging out with gay people. I have young friends I used to work with who are under 25 who openly tell me that they're bisexual. Their friends are transgender, and I'm still learning what's binary and what's not binary, but they have the patience for me because I have innocent questions. But it's different than my generation, probably different from other generations. See, I was part of a generation, I was part of the integration 0.20. There are several now who are 4 and 5. So unlike the 1960s, or maybe even the 1970s, Generation Zs have grown up with people who don't look like them, who look like me, who are gay. And it's different. They're open. I think it's refreshing because my generation would never, ever mention, and I mean, or hang out with somebody who's gay. Would never do that. But this generation's open to it. But they're concerned about economic issues like we see millennials struggling. Is that going to be me? We don't believe that we're going to make Social Security. So we're concerned about what the financial future is going to be for us. Will we be able to survive? Because we see other generations who are just ahead of us and they're not able to survive. So they have real concerns. And these are concerns are not a part of the Republican Party platform. And when you look at the Republicans, I always tell my kids, don't take my word for it, use your own eyes. Look at the crowd, the MAGA crowds. How many people will you see under 30? The protesters in New York were largely people 40 and 50, 60, my age, at the hip-breaking age, Metamucil chases for everybody. But they're out of touch. The Republicans are out of touch. way out of touch with generalization Z's because climate control doesn't it's not an issue. There's no such thing as climate control. Um, Gay people, transgender, some states already have said we're not going to provide any type of medical services. It's going to be against the law for you to treat a transgender person. And of course, we're going after drag queens and we're going after people of color and we're banning books. And this is out of touch with most of America. And we hate women. If they get an abortion in our state, they could go to jail. Even if they're dying, they can go to jail. We want you to have that baby, even though this state is not going to help you with any money. You're going to have that baby. I've been a Christian all my life. Not that Christians are better than any other relationship, but I'm just saying I've been a Christian all my life. And I know of other religions, and I don't think in any religion they're saying, we need you to be cruel to women and punish them and punish their friends who help them. I'm not the judge, but that's where it is. So you hate women, you hate people of color. You don't think there's climate change, even though we're having more tornadoes, more fires, more flooding. Doesn't exist. But one thing you are loyal to, and it's not your constituents, it's the God of the National Rifle Association. If they say we're having a conference, you're going to be there because they're going to line your coffers. And while it's mostly Republicans, it's Democrats too. And sometimes it takes a new generation to get things started. If you look at history, be it civil rights, look at the people who are marching, who are protesting, who are being hosed, the police officers, they're young people. I was that young person in the San Francisco Bay Area who protested, who was criticized by my family because I protested Vietnam even though I was very, very young. How come you're not protesting for civil rights? How come you're not joining this other group? And then they learned, as a lot of people in America learned, that most of the front line were black people, which meant proportionally more black people being killed. So suddenly you saw people from different churches who never got involved in the protests and other groups that happened with civil rights. I was 10 years old when they signed it into, but it was signed with a comma. It can be revoked at any time. Don't sit here in comfort and believe it can't happen. But, I forgot. It was the baby boomers back in the day who protested. You get people at a certain age, you go, we've been living with this. It's just the way things are. It's not that nothing's wrong with my generation, but that's what happens when you get older. You learn to adjust. But when you're young, you're going, this is not fair. This is not right. And just because my parents did it doesn't mean I don't want my future to be that way. So you had kids, black kids from college, white kids, getting involved in the civil rights, getting involved in the Vietnam War. And I think what's going to take us with the Generation Z's is the Generation Z is going to take and rewrite the history. They're going to change the history. I could be wrong. This could be a fluke. It could be another day of... But they are concerned because it affects them. Just think about it. Their entire life, they have lived in fear of school shootings. I didn't have that. The only thing I was in fear of in school was them running out of those buttery rolls. Slash on the butter, lady. 2 pounds. Give me 3, please. I don't have a weight problem. But it's a youth. And I forgot my training because it's been 40, 50 years, except for the Black Lives Movement. And now I'm working with women in organizations, kind of, what's happening in those red states is just horrible. And they will have to answer to God. But what took place in the 50s and then 60s was the money. And what's going to have to happen, as it did in Johannesburg or South Africa, is that we're looking at businesses doing business in those countries, and we're saying, listen, they're supporting I forgot what we called it, apartheid. They're supporting apartheid. The majority of the people who live there, who were born natural citizens, are being put in jail, and they're third class citizens. So what we said to Coca-Cola back in the day is, we're not going to buy your products, not just here in America, but all over the world. So we need you to pull your plant out of South Africa to get their attention. We went to gas companies. We will just not use your gas product if this is what you support. In Memphis, Tennessee, surprisingly, black people, who was the majority of the people who rode the bus, stopped riding the bus. Rocked it to its knees, to the point where they had to meet with black people, where before they just ignored them. And we had a seat on the bus. That's going to have to happen again. History repeats itself. Because the Republicans is so gerrymandered that there's nothing you can do to them. But what if, and most of this is public record, let's find out who's making a donation. Who's their big donors? In Georgia, Delta Airlines. Are you donating to this person running for office who has voted against gun control in this state, which is killing babies? Maybe you're not the airline for us. Gasoline companies, stores. Maybe you're not the company for us. It has worked. Now, of course, the desperate Republicans will probably try to, put the list and make it. But no. If you file taxes and you show the you show them as a write-off, or you've made a contribution. Because what happens again with our generation is like, that's the way it's always been. But the kids are going, no, this is not right. So I challenge you, if you have a child in school, grandchild in school, a niece, nephew in school, a cousin in school, get with these kids. I hope today was just an anomaly. I hope it's not. Something tells me it isn't. Particularly if these two men are reinstated by next week. They're going to see that as a win. And maybe, just maybe, that Nashville, Tennessee will be the beginning of change in America. Because as it stands now, there is no incentive for Republicans other than to say, we're heartbroken for the families and the children. Heartbroken. So I challenge everybody, and I say this to my kids, don't take my word for it. I do encourage you to YouTube, and my system's partially down, Justin, oh God, excuse me. See how organized I am. Justin, I believe his name is Palmer, but check him out. I mean, he gave me chills. He sounded like Martin Luther King, and he's just 28 years old. That's our future. That's our future. Obama's playing golf. the kids can't relate to the people my generation related to, like Obama or um, the Clintons. They're not thrilled with the two choices they have. That's where that's where I agree with them. But right now they're leaning Democrat. That's why yesterday was a wake up call in Wisconsin because just for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, they've spent nearly $50 million for that election. That's how important it is. And now the liberals have the majority in Wisconsin. And what that means is the abortion rights will be rolled back and the restrictions will be eliminated for women in that state as it should be. I don't care about anybody's position on it because I'm not God. There are a lot of people who do things I don't agree with, but reality is none of my business. And I'm not going to be penalized because they are doing the best they can or being penalized for choices they made. I'm basically saying, so I do these late at night sometimes, so my brain kind of shuts down. But yes, so take a moment, give it some thought, but get involved. It's not going to happen soon. Most things that are important take a moment. But today, think of how safe your children are. Think how safe, if you're in a red state, how easy Greg Abbott of Texas has made it to get an AR-57. You're 18. Here's your graduation gift. Now you be safe with that, okay? No background check. Let's get those guns going. Because America, as wonderful as we think we are, and perfect as we think we are, there's no place in the entire world that's killing each other the way Americans do. You know, we like to think that, places like Mexico and Africa are barbaric. In Nigeria, the only people who had guns for the most part were the police. Go to London, no police officer has a gun. They're not walking around armed. They have handcuffs. Mr. Rodfather, I hope I've stirred up your juices. Maybe watch some old YouTubes and look. Like I said, look at the ages of the first line. Young people. And I think it's going to be young people that changes the direction of this nation. It won't be me or anybody in my generation. Again, look at MAGA. Look at the people who turned the Republican Party. How many teenagers do you see there? How many young people compared to the Democrats? It's a shame, but it's true. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you for watching. I wish everyone love, joy, peace, and happiness. If we want a better nation or better life, we have to make it happen. I'm out. Thank you for watching. I really want to hear what you have to say and your thoughts. And if you live in Tennessee, tell me where you are and what's going on in your neighborhood. Because it's a little embarrassing for the politicians in Tennessee. Bye now.